Hello YouTube, this is Hunter Surge of the Brawler Cafe, bringing you another Armored Alliance analysis video. Before we get started, just a quick plug. If you would like to support the channel by doing something you're already going to be doing, be sure to use our TCG Player affiliate link in the description. We will get a small percentage of however much you spend on singles on the site if you do that. Would be appreciated. If you want to support the channel, that's how you do it. With that said, let's get into the video. So, last time we talked about Baku-Gear. What makes a good one, listed off basically everyone that's worthwhile. Today, we're going to be looking at the Bakugan. I have compiled 15 of the most and also the only Bakugan in the set, worth keeping your eye on, worth watching out for, worth picking up. Though maybe not picking up yet for some of them, because like some of them are like, this has some potential in its base form, but we're not sure yet. But for most of the ones later on the list, it's going to be, these are pretty much worth picking up if these fit into the decks you want to play. So with that said, let's get into it. First, at number 15, we have Darkest Milius Ultra. This is one of the only ones we only know the character card for. No Evo for it in the set, even though it seems like it's in the first wave. It's kind of weird, but whatever. So, this boy is notable because he hits 1200 on a shield. This is a benchmark that shield hasn't reached before. And if its Evo is anything similar in quality to the last Milius Ultra we got, we could be looking at something really, really solid. At number 14, we have Piracy Dragonoid Ultra. The new Piracy Dragonoid Ultra is hitting a very large 900B and 2 damage. We do have its Evo, but its Evo is nothing notable. It's 6 cost for like plus 700B overall, and a Victor effect that isn't really that useful. Like, this isn't the sort of thing a rapid fire deck would want, and Pyrus as a faction has an Evo that can be played, that is rapid fire itself, so it can be played for free. And you kind of probably want to spend your Pyrus slot on that, or just something more generically good. And this Evo isn't super worth it. But that 900B power, even though Piracy Dragonoid Ultra only has a shield and a Flaming Fist for cores, does not have anything super notable, so it only gets up to like 1300B with its natural cores. There's a Bakugan that we're going to talk about much later on this list that is very good at giving you more respectable cores across your team to cover for Bakugan with weak cores like this one. And that 900B means that on a magic shield, this is going to be hitting 1550, which is the highest base form currently in the game, even beating out the new Aqua's Hydranoid. So it's that part of it is rather spooky, and that's the main reason that's on the list, because it has 900B and there's the capacity to pair it up with a magic shield to make it hit 1550. Number 13 and 12 are basically a double header. This is Aqua's Centipod and Aqua's Dragoon Ultra. These character cards are practically identical. They are both 603, and they both come with a magic shield. The only difference is their secondary core. Dragonoid Ultra comes with a Flaming Fist, and Centipod comes with a shield. Now you might be saying, this doesn't seem that useful. These are still beat out by Kubo as Bakugan. However, here's the thing. Mono Aquos is still a deck. Flooding Waters is still very, very strong. And Aquos' completeness as a faction internally makes Mono Aquos still a very potent archetype. Like, just getting completely carried by Flooding Waters. That card's really good. One of these will end up being the third for Aquos. It depends on which gets a better Evo, what you want to prioritize with your cores in this time until we get Evos, because neither of them have Evos right now. That's all it really depends on, but one of these will absolutely, for the time being at least, be the third Bakugan you take for Aquos, because you kind of don't want Pyrus or Fangzor anymore, since Fangzor requires you to have like one of your Bakugan bring 2 good cores, and that generally requires a decrease in power from that Bakugan, like in the case of Pyrus. So yeah, one of these as your third, then you bring Kubo and Hydras as your first and second, and you have the ideal Mono Aquos, all with really strong base forms, so that you can fully take advantage of Flooding Water. At number 11, we have our first Aramis Bakugan. This is one of the Bakugan that we do not have the base form for, but its character card is unique or powerful enough on its own that is worth talking about. So, Relish Maximus Hydrus is a 6 cost, 1,010, but when you play this, you may play a Baku-Gear from your hand for free. This is not the only Evo in the set that can play Baku-Gear for free, but the other one is a Chaos 705, I believe, 5 cost, and can only play Baku-Gear for free onto itself. Whereas Relish Hydrus here can play Baku-Gear for free on any of your Bakugan. This could be notable with some of the gear I talked about before in the last video, like Silent Spears or Fantage Dragonoid, to get those high cost, high value gears out for free. Remains to be seen how good this will be, kind of depending on the course, because 6 energy is a lot. It's a lot, and getting a gear down for free is not quite enough overall to really be worth that cost, so I hope it has some good cores to go along with that to really make this worthwhile, but it has some decent potential, so I want to include it on here. At number 10, we have Pyrus Milius. This is one that we do have the character card in Evo 4, as you can see up here. So, base character card, not all that great. 600 run, double Flaming Fist. That's not fantastic. Kind of needs a better core to help make up for that. But its Evo has a very interesting effect. So, at 4 energy cost, comes at 1205. So you're getting plus 600B for 4 energy. Not the greatest exchange, but still not the worst. But, effect has a lot of potential. When this opens, you may empower the next card you play this turn for free. So what empower is the new keyword shared by Pyrus and Chaos, which is basically when you play that card, you can pay an additional 3 energy to get a bonus effect. Now, the problem with empower right now is that there aren't a whole lot of empower effects that are actually valuable, actually doing things that you want. But if we start getting good empower effects in the future, this is a Bakugan that obviously will have very, very high potential, because, hey, every time I roll this out, I can just play an empower effect for free. Pretty solid. At number 9, we have Aqua's Trucks Ultra. Yet again, this is a Bakugan that we do not have a base character card for, but its Evo is impressive enough that we should be talking about it. So, Aqua's Maximus Trucks Ultra at 2 energy, by the way, that's a conundrum, but 808, and when you play a Baku-Gear onto him, he gets plus 500B for that turn. Not as good as it possibly could have been, but this is a 2 energy that's like 1300 plus gear, so like, can't be asking for too much here. So, this has some decent potential, and it's the kind of thing that you would want to combo with gears that... Hello. Do you want to be part of the video? Well, you can't. Sorry. Go away. I'll play with you later. Chill. Okay. So, Aqua's Trucks Ultra. Okay, you just want to be here. Okay. So, you would want to combo this specifically with gear that have on-play effects, on-play temporary effects, like many of the keyword gear do, because, hey, this Trunks is only getting this bonus for this turn, so you want to be able to, when you have to use him again in the future, be able to play gear again onto him. You don't want to be using gear that are more intended as permanent boosts. Grammar and Glaive would be good for this. Another combo I thought of that has the main hitch in it is, she's just barely out of the camera. Oh, there you can see her. The main hitch in this is, this combo would be getting a 5 energy card in your hand, but one of the gear that I did not talk about last video was Vortex Blaster, which is the sync gear. So what it does is it's 101? Yeah, 101 I think. Or was it 103? Let me check real quick. Make sure I get the correct information. Yeah, it's 103 for 3 costs, so 1 cost. It has the sync effect that on play, you can reveal a card in your hand that costs 5 energy or more, and if you do, you get 500 extra B for that turn. So, the idea would be you play Vortex Blaster on Maximus Trucks for like 1 cost, And you get a total, you reveal 5 energy cost or more from your hand, and you get a total of 1100 extra B. Plus whatever cores this is on, like 1900 total, plus whatever other cores, and you're doing this for fairly low energy costs. So pretty solid combo overall. Yeah. At number 8, I have Piracy Ultra. More specifically, it's Evo, because we do not know this base form. So Hyperpaper Ultra, 3 cost, 906, nothing super impressive, but this is a rapid fire Evo. For the darkest rapid fire Evo, that's set in stone. We'll talk about that in just a couple entries. But this is the one that you would be running for Pyrus if you want to run a rapid fire Evo. The placement of this is kind of dependent on the core types it gets in its base form, which obviously we do not know yet. But Evos you can just play for free are generally pretty solid. So hopefully this thing's core types aren't too bad. Because if it can get like a Magic Shield, then it can go up to 1550, and that's pretty solid for a free Evo. Yeah. At number 7, we have Darkest Enoch Ultra. This is seemingly a Wave 2, so we don't have any Evo for this. But its base form is 704 with a Magic Shield, so it's hitting 1350B, otherwise known as the Power Creep Boys number, in base form, with more damage than a Pyrus Nobilius boasts. So basically this is a new faction that is reaching that threshold with a Bakugan. We do have an Evo for this actually. It's a Diamond Evo, but it's a Diamond Evo. It's as bad as we have all come to expect every Diamond Evo to be. So yeah, nothing really else to be said there. It's a Power Creep Boy. You're not playing it for its Evo, you're playing it for its 1350 base form, if you're playing it at all. At number 6, we have Darkest Milius Core. This is the rapid fire for Darkest. So, 405 Shield, Flaming Fist, nothing too impressive, but we're not using it for its base form because it's a rapid fire Evo, which means as long as we've played a rapid fire card that turn, we can play it for free. So it's basically a free Evo. Very simple to combo into. There are of course 1-cost rapid fire cards, so we can very easily get this out on turn 1. And anytime we want, as long as we have another rapid fire card in hand. So what it does is, sorry about this, really sorry about this. I promised I wouldn't be staring down into the computer this time. It's 8 cost, we're never paying that, 1407. Though, the fact that it's 8 cost does mean it is a good candidate for stuff like Vortex Blaster that asks you to reveal 5 cost or higher from your hand. Regardless. Rapid Fire, play it for free. If you've played another Rapid Fire card this turn, 1407, so that's hitting like 1800 on a shield, which is nuts on turn 1. And at the end of the turn, if it was played for free, you return it to your hand. So in exchange for being extremely high for what is a free Evo that can be put out turn 1, you are forced to return it to your hand, but then you can just rapid fire it out any future turn that you need Milius on the board. So, you know, pretty solid. It remains to be seen whether rapid fire is ready as a deck type, because right now there's this small issue with rapid fire where most of the cards for it are damage. The only really B-power boosts are the Evos and the gear. So without a way to rapid fire into actually valuable card effects, the archetype might struggle a bit right now. But this Bakugan, this Evo, is extremely powerful, and I have a difficult time seeing rapid fire as an archetype exist in a way that does not include this card. So yeah. Alright, we are reaching into the top 5 now. These are the ones that are going to be big, like going to make major impacts on the format, in my opinion, as soon as they drop. Starting with number 5. This is the new Fantage Dragonoid core. This is a Bakugan I am extremely excited about. And this is what I was referencing when I was talking about Piracy Dragonoid Ultra. So, Fantage Dragonoid, 602 Magic Shield and Helix. This is the first extremely notable thing about this Bakugan. It's hitting 1250B in base form on a Magic Shield or hitting 1100 on Helix. Both very respectable numbers. And it's doing that while bringing a Magic Shield and Helix. Helix is, of course, the second most powerful, or you can hit 1200 on 600 Helix. So basically, Helix is the second most powerful core type in the game, right behind Magic Shields because it's able to give plus 600B, only 50 short of what Magic Shield is giving you. So, a Magic Shield Helix Bakugan is effectively, generally speaking, very similar to a double Magic Shield Bakugan. And as you may be aware, having double Magic Shields is a huge boon and also tends to be a huge nerf to the Bakugan that carries it, because they will tend to have very low stats, like Aqua's Piravian at 402, Chaos Vice Rocks at 305, Pyrus Core at 102. They tend to have very, very nerfed stats in exchange for the power that is bringing double Magic Shields. Because when you bring double Magic Shields, or a Magic Shield and a Helix, or double Helix, you're able to cover for another Bakugan on your team that brings in weaker cores by having one Bakugan basically provide the cores for two Bakugan. So even if a Bakugan ends up with weak core types, it's able to ignore that downside of it if you're pairing it with a Bakugan like Fantage Dragonoid. And it doesn't stop there, because Fantage Dragonoid has a very, very good Evo. So Fantage Dragonoid's Evo is a Bakugan Elite that's good. Imagine that. It's been a while since we had one of these. Very nice to see a Bakugan Elite that isn't garbage this time. Actually a good card. Thank you. So Maximus Dragonoid is 5 cost, but that doesn't matter. It's 1207, and it has the trifecta effect. If your Bakugan, as in your team, have 3 or more Baku core attached to them, you can play this for free. So this is basically not a real condition, because as long as you just roll out Fantage Dragonoid last, you will in all likelihood be able to play this Evo for free. All you have to do is roll them out last, and you will be able to get this Evo for free. And it's plus 600B for no cost. 1200B, when that's pairing with Magic Shield and Helix, is fairly respectable. Much better than what you're getting out of Piravian or Vice Rocks, and it's way beating out the base forms or even the quality of the Evos of Bakugan like Aqua's Kubo and Pyrus Nobilius. So overall, this is a very, very powerful Bakugan. Yeah, very good. And of course, by bringing Ventus, you're getting access to the very, very powerful Nature's Power, which is nothing to sleep on. That card is honestly one of the best in the game. Barring Flooding Waters, it's the best one cost when it comes to directly, like, standalone cards, like Super Fuel. When it comes to combos, can beat it out. But as far as standalone one costs go, like, Nature's Power is the best. It's really, really good. So getting access to Ventus, not a bad thing to be doing. And Ventus got another card in this set that I'll probably talk about in a future video that has quite a bit of potential if decks are built going forward, the way that I think they should be built. So yeah. So for number 4, you have probably seen this boy going around quite a bit because he's the new power cap. This is Aqua's Hydrus Core. So Aqua's Hydrus Core is 404, brings a Helix and a Fist, and it gets a tiny 505 when standing on a Helix Core. So that's 909, you added plus 600 minus 3 Helix Core onto that, you're looking at 1500 B and 6 damage. So that's a big boy. That's obviously beating out Aqua's Kubo. It should be replacing Aqua's Kubo in basically every deck, except for mono Aquos, because obviously you need multiple Aquos, and Aqua's Kubo is still the second best Aquos. So Aqua's Kubo is going to stay there, but basically everywhere else this is going to usurp it. Because it's just hitting higher stats. It's just hitting higher stats. It's 150B higher with the plus 600 -3, and even with that -3, it's still hitting higher damage than Cubbo. Now bringing a second Helix core is a bit more of a task than bringing a Flaming Fist, which Cubbo brings naturally, but if you do, you get a similar damage mode to what Cubbo has, where you are hitting 700B with 14 damage, which is obviously quite a bit higher than what Aqua's Cubbo hits at 11 damage. So, you know. And of course, we just got this Bakugan, Fantage Dragonoid, that brings a Magic Shield and a Helix and has a very solid Evo. So, yeah. It's really good. And before you go, oh, you only have one Helix, if you're not comboing this with Fantage Dragonoid, you're basically doing the same thing with Cubbo. Sure, you typically have it like with Pyrus Nobilius, say, in Power Creep Boys, you'll have 2 Magic Shields, but you need one of those for each of those Bakugan. It's effectively the same thing as having only one Helix for Aqua's Hydrus. So yeah, this is a very, very strong Bakugan. Beats out Relish Hydranoid in base form. Does not have an Evo yet. So in that department, Relish Hydranoid still wins out. But the fact that it is hitting higher B power than Relish Hydranoid is a huge deal. Absolutely humongous. And speaking of hitting Relish Hydranoid numbers, next let's talk about Chaos Trucks Ultra. So Chaos Trucks Ultra is 802 and comes with a Magic Shield, which of course means it's hitting 1450. So usurping the Power Creep Boys, even though Chaos did not have one before, but Chaos is a very good faction. Glimmering Glaive is a really good card, so those sorts of decks will generally appreciate this Bakugan. But here's the thing. Unlike Pyrus Nobilius and Aqua's Cubbo, Chaos Trucks Ultra has a very potent Evo. It is extremely high costed at 7 energy, but despite that, it is very good. So, Maximus Trucks Ultra is 1500B, 9 damage. That's not impressive on its face. That's only 700B for 7 energy, literally half of what we want to be getting. However, in Trifecta, which, as I've explained with Fantage Dragonoid, is basically a free condition. As long as you, like, if you only have one Trifecta Bakugan on your team, you just roll out the Trifecta Bakugan last, and it'll basically always have the condition. If you have core screwing, like core stealing, like Chaos does, or Bakugan with decent multi-core pickup potential, you can get it out faster. But as a baseline, you will basically always be able to get out, get the Trifecta condition online, as long as the Bakugan using it is being rolled out third. Which is why Trifecta Bakugan are very good, but Trifecta actions and other card types are not that great. So, in Trifecta, it gets an additional 1500B and 6 damage. So it's hitting 3000 B power and 15 damage. So that is, let's do some quick math here. That's a plus 2200 B for 7 energy. That sure is a concept. So yeah, this despite its extremely high cost, I think this is a Bakugan absolutely worth bringing like 2 copies of. Just put it in a 2-of slot. And if you're a deck with Pyrus, even better, because you can use Super Fuel to get it out on turn 5. So yeah, like this Bakugan a lot. It's really, really good. And beyond just playing into like Power Creep Boy decks like that, I think this Bakugan has a lot of different potential. Like, for example, because it's 7 cost, as you might remember I've mentioned before, is the threshold that you need an evil to be for Divine Intervention to actually be worth it. Because if it's not at least 7 cost, then it's more efficient to just use Super Fuel, or just as efficient. But more efficient because Super Fuel is a more diverse, more versatile card, so you can use it for other things more easily. And the problem with Divine Intervention before is that there weren't really any good Evos at that cost threshold. But this is an extremely good Evo, is in Chaos, so you have access to it anyways. And yeah, really exciting Bakugan. really powerful. Like, what really makes it is the fact that even without that Evo, it's just a better power creep boy. It's just hitting higher B power than they are, and it has this 7 cost Evo that you can just have in the back, waiting for when you hit that late game and you drop it, and it's like extremely difficult to deal with. So, next up, at number 2, we have Aramis Milius Ultra. This is another one that we do not know the base form of, but of course, thanks to Fantage Dragonoid core, we are, even if it has really bad cores, we can cover for that using Fantage Dragonoid. So, not really a big concern. So, it is 3 energy, 804, and then while it has a Baku-Gear attached to it, it gets an extra plus 700B, plus 7 damage. So, as I've established in the previous video, there's not much reason to not be running at least a playset of 1 gear, so this condition is really easy to pull off. It's basically a non-condition. All it requires is that you prioritize this to put a gear on over your other Bakugan. And as a reward, you get a 1500B Bakugan, probably hitting 1900 after the gear, and like with a Helix, 500 Helix, let's say, that's hitting, what, 2400? Oh, what's that? That's nearly Relish Hydranoid numbers. Huh. Fancy that. If you put this on a magic shield, it's beating that. Of course, this is with gear. Relish Hydranoid is going to be able to equip gear itself, but like 2150 or 2000 with its, before accounting for whatever the gear does, assuming at least a plus 500 Helix for its core type, yeah, that's really good. And it's packing a rather high damage count as well, at 11, so that's really solid. Really good Bakugan. Probably the best Relish Bakugan out of Armored Elite. And then, last up, we have, this Bakugan is terrifying. This Bakugan is freaking horrifying. It is very spooky. It is very scary. It is Relish Ultra. So, thing to get out of the way here first, because of the whole true character card thing, where we don't know how they're being distributed, while we do know the full effect of this Bakugan, we are not going to be able to play with that full effect immediately. So when it first comes out, it's going to be a 501 double shield, which is not terribly impressive, but who cares, because the Evo is incredible. We'll get into that in a moment. But before we get into that, let's talk about the true character card, because the true character card is also really, really solid. So it's a true character card. It has the effect of Victor, attach a Baku core from the field to this. So this is basically good Helix Nobilius. It's, with its natural core types, it's obviously hitting much better B powers than Helix Nobilius, hitting 900 versus the, what, 750 that Nobilius hit? Much, much better. But its Victor condition is, its Victor's Baku core steel is not restricted to fists. That's the big thing here. Because, like, as I've been mentioning, a lot of the decks that abuse Magic Shields or Helix, it's because you can only really get one Magic Shield or Helix per Bakugan typically, without taking a huge nerf to stats. You typically only have as many of these good cores as you have Bakugan. And this has not been a huge weakness before now. Especially if you can use Flaming Fists plus Might to help account for this weakness. However, it is still a very big weakness that if something was able to exploit it, would become extremely apparent. And this Victor condition is just the beginning of exploiting that. So you can just steal any Baku core from your opponent's field when it wins. And that can majorly disrupt a lot of strategies. Just deprive them of like their second magic shield. If you can beat out a Piracy Nobilius or Aqua's Couple turn 1, which might be a bit difficult with that 900 repower, but all the same. You can deprive them of important cores to their strategy, take them over to your side of the field, maybe get some extra damage on there, but that's not important. That's not the important part. The important part is the part where you're stealing your opponent's cores and therefore disrupting their strategy. Yeah. And lastly, let's finally get into the Evo and talk about why this thing is terrifying. So, Chaos Maximus Trucks Ultra, this is a Bakugan Elite, so a second good Bakugan Elite in this set. Thank you for not having all trash Bakugan Elites. Can I please have one good Aqua's Bakugan Elite? Thank you. So, 6 energy, 1107, and when it opens, attach all Baku cores on opposing Bakugan to this. This is horrifying. This is horrifying. Relish Hydranoid is dead. Like, that thing has an actual counter now. It's called this. It's actually horrifying. Have fun with your 200 B Relish Hydranoid when your Flaming Fist gets stolen. Okay, you're going to reroll into one of your remaining Flaming Fists. Okay, I'm going to reroll my Pegatrix and steal your Flaming Fist again. The Flaming Fist I previously stole from you is now placed on my side of the field, making it difficult for you to grab it. Oh, you're going to reroll again, grab your last Flaming Fist. Okay, I'm going to reroll again as well, and steal that Flaming Fist. Okay, good talk. This is extremely powerful. Honestly, might be a bit overpowered. It might be a bit overpowered. This might have needed to be a slightly higher cost, but then again, then you run into the issue where if you make anything 7 cost or higher, it's still effectively a 4 cost because Divine Intervention is a card that exists. Now, there is one problem with this Bakugan. Now, you can get this out turn 4, of course, with Super Fuel. But Super Fuel is not great for getting this out turn 4 because, of course, its effect is an on-open effect. So if you Super Fuel it out turn 4, you won't be able to actually utilize its effect on turn 4. Now, of course, you can just be rolling some other Bakugan Super Fuel, get this out, spend all your energy doing that. Not ideal. Not ideal. But, of course, there is a way to get around this because there are other cards that do similar jobs to Super Fuel. Now this is a card that I've been recommending people to not run for the last year. Well, close to a year at this point. Like 11 months. Song of Fire is not fantastic in most decks because it's basically just a worse Super Fuel. However, we have finally found it. We have found it, boys. We have found the singular case where Song of Fire is better than Super Fuel. Because with Song of Fire, you can actually get this out before you roll in the first place, and then roll. Now, of course, if you Super Fuel it out on turn 4, you can have a Quick Fire in hand, but that's a 3-card combo. We would like to avoid that if possible. We would probably still be running Super Fuel with this. 4 more ways to get it out earlier, even if we're forced to take a loss that turn because of that. Because this Bakugan is just as powerful. It's just that powerful. It's the sort of thing that you might want to run Ninja Gear with because being able to recycle it over and over until you win is very, very potent. This Bakugan is absurd. Actually absurd. I am scared. I am terrified. And I'm going to build something with it, obviously, because it's too good. It's way too good to pass up. And Chaos, as a faction, got extremely powerful tools beyond this in this set. Especially Chaos Pyrus. Like, you're going to be running Pyrus with this anyways for Song of Fire and Super Fuel. And you also get... That means you also get Pyrobliterator. You have Glimmering Glaive. Just really, really powerful. Yeah, it's an amazing Bakugan. Honestly, could be meta-defining. If we have tournaments. We need tournaments to have, like, anything defining a meta. Because a meta needs to exist. But, assuming that occurs... this Bakugan, I could very easily see be meta-defining because, like, a lot of decks, a lot of the top strategies right now are core-based. And like, even Trifecta, which I've talked about having some powerful Bakugan, is also core-based and will also get completely destroyed by a Maximus Trucks Ultra coming down. It's just extremely powerful. If you're going to pick up anything from Armored Elite, make it Chaos Trucks Ultra, because this is a really strong Bakugan, and I have a difficult time seeing this go away anytime soon. Yeah, I have a very difficult time seeing this going away anytime soon. Because even if decks like trend away from magic shields to stop being so weak to this Bakugan specifically, stealing their cores is still going to be like a decent difference. It also makes it pretty much immune to Might of Cindius plays. Because after stealing your opponent's cores, there's not a whole lot. Like, all of your opponent's cores, like every Bakugan on your opponent's sides, their cores are yours now. Like, this is going to be very difficult to deal with, and is absolutely going to be part of a tier 1 deck. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that this is going to end up part of a tier 1 deck, because it's just that powerful. It's absurdly strong. Yeah, that's it. That's the top 15. That's the Bakugan from Armored Elite that when it drops in early 2020, you should be going and picking up, because these are the good ones. Everything else I didn't talk about is probably trash. Just going to go on a limb and say that. I included everything on this, everything that I thought was notable at all, I included on this list. So, you know, with that said, this is Hunter Search of the Brawler Cafe.